Like email vidocs, 20 minutes, 2 hours later I get whacked at it by top and tail it in a traditional edit suite. It reaches my audience in some 2 hours later. The conversation has passed. In the world of social, 5 minutes is yesterday. So this is where we are now, where we're accelerating the distribution of this content to serve a new audience.
And Tim, as you were saying, you're sort of the last stop of the production overflow. That's my alarm going off. Remind me about this. I would have been late. Why don't you talk about that, the relationship that your clients have with the consumers, the need to get closer to the consumer, get to, what we call zero-party data, and how you enable them to have a better relationship with using that content as the bond.
Yeah, definitely. And like Richard said, the evolution of how you consume that content and how it's delivered to you and the devices that are available to consume that content has changed dramatically over the last dozen years. And so all entities are really striving to deliver a solution, deliver a targeted interface that is usable, that is something that has a good experience for the customer, and something that gives them kind of added benefit around the content. There may be ancillary services or other types of content that they're delivering in conjunction with video content, for example. And they want to meet the customer where they are on their device whenever they want to consume that content. And so not only does the content need to be generated in a timely manner and have that to fill the void that is on phones or on websites or Apple TVs, wherever it is, they also need to evolve the delivery app, like the mechanism that they're sending that out and sharing that content. And so there's a cycle that, people expect everything to be perfect yesterday. And so they want it where they are, and you should know that I'm going to be on a different phone tomorrow. And so that's where we kind of come in is helping that part of the delivery stream. It's you have great content, you're generating it fast, how do you get it where the eyeballs are, and how they want to consume it in the right way, efficient way.
Thomas, when you started the company, what was the vision for the company? How did it begin? Did it begin with you saw business problems in the marketplace that you wanted to solve? Or tell us how the whole idea for the company started.
Yeah, in fact, we started as a B2C company. We wanted to build an application where people could interact directly with what they were seeing on TV, like publishing directly what you see on TV to your social media. Due to Right Stuff and so on, we sold that to Canal Plus in France, put that in production, and what we've seen is that it was not the end user doing this, but Canal Plus journalists. Actually using our small tool to send every major stuff they were doing to social media. We say, okay, something is broken in the workflow, in the normal workflow of production, and so we built everything we are doing now, which is giving them the tool to make the content they want at the moment they want, with a key, and you mentioned, both of you, with a key metric which is being fast. We are working now with NBC News, for example, and when you get a quote from Trump on Twitter, if it's in less than 30 seconds on Twitter, we get a call from the NBC News, the guy saying, okay, it has to be faster than that. I will give you another example which is super telling. You know beIN Sport, it's a big sports company. They have some rights around soccer matches in Europe, in France and so on. And those rights allow them to do like 50 to 100 clips per game, because you have less and less people watching full games, but wanting to get some live clips, live Twitter feeds on this. When you have 10 to 20 matches in parallel, you can do 100 clips per game with only humans. It's just not possible. So we've built some automation to help them do that. But on top of that, you still need journalists, because when a robot is clicking the goals for you, you have all the passes, all the stuff. It's great, but it's not telling a story. So on top of that, there are journalists, real content people that know soccer and that can tell a story on this. So they get this full content, and with 3 journalists for 10 matches, they can do fantastic content in real time.
Richard, you were talking about some of your clients are sort of in the also in the sports world, but like niches, and where it might, over time, they've determined that it's a more powerful distribution channel to have that relationship with the consumer than perhaps through a major distributor of content, through a cable company, et cetera. Can you talk about your client makeup and why you targeted the certain client, the kind of clientele that you do?
I don't think we specifically target a particular client, but there's been a move in sports, probably the last 18 months or so, where sports are reviewing how they reach the fans. They're reviewing how they engage with fans. They're reviewing what a relationship with a fan looks like and what content that fan wants at all the different touch points that they have. So yeah, we've seen some really niche sports, international orienteer, for example, who digitally but can broadcast agreement. And this opens up an enormous wide opportunity for different sports to own that relationship to the fan. And if it's a monetizable sports, they can reinvest in the grassroots sports that goes underneath. And that's a positive thing for us. What we're also seeing is sports such as extreme sports, and we work with an extreme sports federation in France, who are wanting to improve the quality of their output, but without monumentally upweighting their cost of production. So they run an event in Chengdu in China. They used to have to send 5 social media people out there, and they'll send 1. The other 4 work remotely because it's remote production. You can edit in near real time on the cloud, share the content to all social platforms simultaneously, and you need 1 person on the ground. So that's a massive financial and manpower saving for that organisation.
Let's work this way and talk about your business model. You know, how do you price your services, and again, who typically is the customer? Who's the decision maker?
So we're software as a service, where everything is on demand. So we have baseline subscriptions, or we do pure events. So if you've just got a 3-day event, we'll scale it up from that. I was fortunate enough to, the minute I touched down in LAX last Wednesday, my phone rang, and it was a live premiere from London that needed the solution in 4 hours' time for the Netflix premiere the next day. With cloud-based services, you can do that, and you can be cost-effective and fast. I think that's where it needs to be. It needs to be small payments, no capex, but highly effective and highly scalable.
For us, we are also a SaaS solution, so cloud-based, but we can deploy. We have many customers that have security requirements or other requirements where we need to deploy in a private cloud or on-premise. But it's basically a per-user model. You can scale up and down. And really, our users are designers or developers or product owners that are building or managing the website for a particular broadcaster or a particular entity. And most of our business has come from kind of folks find us, they start using us in a small team, and then it blossoms to a bigger team. So then 1,000 people are using it within an organization. And to me, that's a testament of like people like to scale. They like to do something. They can adopt tools that let them move faster. And if you can solve a problem for somebody, they really are happy to join on and sign up.
SaaS platform. The philosophy of our pricing model and so on is really about not putting any barrier on the production capability of our customers. So basically we charge for every content coming to us, and then we want our customer to be addicted. So no limit whatsoever number of clips, publication streams they do, so that we can have massive team of hundreds of people like France Television. All the content of this big broadcaster is going through us, and they have 700 of editors working on the platform. We don't want to limit the creativity of those guys. So everything we do as pricing is really just about the raw content, and the rest up to our customer to be creative.
So why don't you talk, since we're at, what are we calling this, innovation, something up there? Innovation. Why don't you talk about the role of innovation in your company, and perhaps an example of a recent innovation, whether it was an improvement in a service that you already offered, or how that happens?
So you see a lot of AI stuff everywhere and so on, and our take on this one is that this kind of new technology, we use those a lot, is really to serve the storytellers and so on in the workflow. So when we do automation, like I was saying before, we use this kind of techniques to help journalists to just concentrate on the job they have to do, which is telling a story and not bother with the technicalities of the workflows and so on. Very recently, we've seen that with this massive production of content we are doing in the cloud and automation and so on, okay, this is well and good, but we still have the broadcasting guys that are probably doing a lot of stuff on their side. And how to make the link between the two. How to be able to join the team together so that when someone is getting a great quote from an interview in digital that has success in Twitter, how to get it inside the broadcasting world. So this is a big part of the work we have done with Avid. We have done great stuff around that, so that we can reconcile those two worlds together, so that the big work you do in digital, massive stuff, can be reused in broadcast, everything in real time, again, for speed of your content delivery.
And Tim, how does innovation work at your company?
So we're lucky that we have so many teams of people that are designing and developing, kind of world-class apps and experiences through our platform. And we have a tight rapport with them where they give us feedback about what they need, or we just have conversations and they share pain points or areas where they have trouble. And so we have this constant pipeline of information coming back to us saying, if you could solve this problem, or I have this problem, and we try to tap into that as much as possible and deliver something for them. I'll just note one kind of recent addition to our suite has been version control for design files. So that has historically not existed, and in many cases it would be the four of us up here working on a design file for an app, and who has the latest one? Send it to me, and it's final in the name, and like somehow you're magically supposed to know which one's right. And then, God forbid, all four of us made a change to the same thing. Who's going to put that together? So we built a tool that relies on Git-based stuff in the back end, like GitHub or those platforms, but it applies for design files, and so now designers don't have to worry about that as much. You have a repository, you have a source of truth, and that's something that we didn't. No one ever said, "Hey, build that." It was that we talked to, I was talking to Pfizer, I think, and they were like, "Yeah, Bob went away, and we lost the file, and then he came back 2 weeks later, and we figured out he had other things, and just merging it, we wasted days." And it's like, well, this problem has been solved in other spheres. Let's just apply that type of approach to this ecosystem. And that's sort of, kind of how we kind of listen and feel the market pain and deliver something that can solve that problem.
So there's a couple of things I'd like to touch on. I think it's important not to just do innovation for innovation's sake. We work in a broadcast sphere. Some of it's about collaboration, so we see ourselves as a layer above the current technology. We collaborate with the broadcast suite, we receive content from that, and it's about multiple people having access to those files in real time. It's also about how we evolve the tool in partnership with our clients. So we have specific needs that are getting fed back to us from our clients. And we also have an obligation to keep pace with our competitors. So yes, we've provided automation, automated smart clipping, automated for production. But then we go further, and it's about how we take streams. And we're showing a platform here called Stream Producer, where we can uniquely produce a huge amount of content for streaming, with almost unlimited source material coming in. So you've got a full vision-based cloud mixer with 20 or 30 live sources that you can blend between at any one time. So this is a really important sort of step for us.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention 5G. I bet you haven't heard about 5G yet, have you? So, but 5G obviously is going to have more of an impact to some businesses than others. It seems to me, especially in your businesses, it can have a massive impact. And the timing of what you do could be perfect for the case studies that Verizon and everybody's going to want to see. So tell us a little bit about your perspective on 5G, what the real timeline is for it, what kind of impact it might have on your business.
I'm coming from a telco background actually, so I like the subject a lot. There will be a multiple impact on this one. One may be a big disruption, even in the global distribution and the actors like Comcast and so on. Everything can be reshuffled because of that. So it will have an impact. On the production side, obviously it will be easier and easier to go from venue to cloud. So for us, it's a massive opportunity to have, and I'm sure Telio will concur with you on this one, massive opportunity to get some great content with better and better quality from the field directly to where we want to produce it for digital media. So this will be massive. The other way is really about the consumption. Obviously, reducing all the boundaries and timing between the two will help us a lot to produce better quality content, higher bit rate, and so on. So the end user will be delighted.
Yeah, I mean, we're a little bit less on the speed side and those improvements, but I think with the improvements that come with 5G come new types of experiences that weren't possible before, and so that lends to different ways people design and implement apps. Probably new devices will come around that can support different types of features, and so we see that there's going to be kind of new experiences that folks are going to be thinking about how they deliver them, and then how do we support that is sort of what we're thinking about. As voice becomes more present, I can do more things more effectively with 5G. Like, there's interesting kind of applications that can come out of that, and how does design and development fit into that ecosystem to leverage the benefits of this new technology?
I think the only other area, picking up on what Thomas says today, and entirely agree with what he said, is that what then becomes a production source. Cameras in phones have got to the point now where they can produce exceptionally high quality. If you couple that with incredible bandwidth and speed of reception, then you could all be producing your own content or collaborating or supplying source material for a broadcaster to considerably use.
Got a few more minutes here. I was going to see if anybody had any questions. Don't be shy. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much.